All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction. Now that we just have explored how we can use the low code, no code kind of a thing, but now that let's get into some pro code kind of a thing and see how we can extend the Copilot for Microsoft 365 with plugins. Okay. So I know that many of you have been working with Microsoft 365, all of its application services for a while now, and you must be exploring Copilot kind of an capabilities as well. Okay, so don't say that you are not using Copilot. Okay, so today that we are diving into one of the most transformative kind of an aspect of Microsoft 365 ecosystem, which is the integration of AI powered assistance into everyday workflow, which is Copilot. Okay, so building Copilot for Microsoft 365 with Teams Toolkit is one of the powerful way to bring AI driven assistance to your organization's daily workflows. And again, there are various other ways in which you will be able to create those plugins for Copilot so that as you are using the AI powered capability of Copilot, even from there you will be able to extend to your specific scenarios. Okay, so there are multiple ways which we are going to deep dive into, or maybe look into, but again we are going to specifically deep dive into the area of like how you can use Teams Toolkit, which is one of the famous tool for creating the applications for Microsoft Teams, and then we will see like how you can create your Copilot plugins that can be extended for your day-to-day kind of an work. And then by leveraging this Teams toolkit, obviously developers can create customized solutions that can enhance the productivity, improve the decision making. Even you can automate your routine tasks, and which is all within your familiar environment of Microsoft Teams. So that is the power that Microsoft Copilot has got with its plugin. So this approach not only empower your users, but also from there you can drive the innovation, make it pretty much easier for the teams to achieve their goals very efficiently. So in this session, we will explore the practical scenarios where Copilot can be a game changer, along with the step-by-step guidance on using the Teams toolkit to bring your Copilot vision to the life. Again, we do have one of the demo where which we have presented to the PNP community, as well as which is available as a free open source plugin. And we are going to demonstrate that. And again, the code is available for everyone. All right, so before we start with the session, quick introduction. Myself, Nandadeep Nathan. I'm Microsoft MVP for M365 and AI platform. I'm from Pune, India. So, good evening, everyone. And then I'm author of these three books, including SharePoint Framework, SharePoint Hybrid with SharePoint 2019, and Microsoft Viva Connections. And on to the right hand side, here are few of my social media handlers. If in case you want to get in touch for future discussions related to Copilot or anything in general, please feel free to do so. And with me today is Smita.
Hello, myself Smita Nathan. Greetings from Pune, India. I'm having total 16 plus years of experience in M365 technology. I'm a speaker, I'm author of these two books, as well as I'm a Microsoft MVP. So these are my social handlers by which you can get in touch with me.
All right, so with that introduction, let's get into the topic of today, the agenda that we are going to cover for this session. So, Miss, obviously, I know that you must be exploring Copilot, but we will start with the basics like what is Copilot and how it is beneficial for the Microsoft 365 users, and we will see its architecture. Then we will see like what are the possible ways to extend the Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, and then one of that way is creating a plugins that can work better with Copilot. So we will make you aware of all of the possible options by which you will be able to extend the Microsoft Copilot, but we will deep dive into creating a plugin that you can create with Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio Code. Again, even if in case you are a .NET developer, obviously you can use Visual Studio as well, but we are just going to demonstrate you with Visual Studio Code with the open source kind of a tooling. And then lastly, the Copilot that we have created, which is classified distinct Copilot that can help you to find out the relevant information about the products that your users or the users within your organizations try to sell, rent, or buy, so that you can find them efficiently and then interact with that. All right, so firstly, let's start with the basics of Microsoft 365 Copilot.
So, what is this Microsoft 365 Copilot and how does it work exactly? So, today we are going to explore explain you that, and we have some more information also to share with you. So the Microsoft 365 Copilot is your copilot for your work. So in short, that Microsoft 365 Copilot is a sophisticated processing and orchestration engine that provides the AI powered productivity capabilities. So at a fundamental level, Copilot has a few core components. So the first one is a LLM, so the large language models. So the Copilot is more than OpenAI's ChatGPT embedded into Microsoft 365. So it is a sophisticated processing and orchestration engine working behind the scenes to combine the power of LLMs, including GPT-4, with Microsoft 365 apps and your business data in the Microsoft Graph that is now accessible to everyone through natural language. So the content in Microsoft Graph, such as emails, chats, and documents that you have the permissions to access. So the Microsoft 365 apps that you use every day, such as Word, PowerPoint, and as well as Excel, Outlook, Teams, Loop, and many more, operate with Copilot to support the users in the context of their work. So the Copilot combines the power of large language models with the data. So your data in Microsoft 365 time when the large language model was trained, but real time up to date knowledge. So it can be accessed through natural language across your Microsoft 365 apps to turn your words into the most powerful productivity tool on the planet. Yeah. So let's go ahead and see architecture. Yeah. So this image illustrates the architecture of Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, which is highlighting how it interacts with user data and the services to deliver the AI powered assistant. So here are some of the breakdowns of the key components as well as for the processes. So the first one is Microsoft 365 service boundary. So for the user prompts, the process begins when a user inputs a prompt. So for example, a request for information or an action. The second one is a pre-processing and grounding. So the prompt is sent to Copilot, which accesses the Microsoft Graph along with optional web plus other services for grounding, meaning it uses available data to understand and refine the request in context. So let's say, for example, recent documents, elements, and many more things. So the third one is this modified prompt to large language models, LLMs. So after grounding, Copilot sends the modified prompt to LLMs, models. Large language model is a powerful AI model used to generate the response. Then we have a responsible AI, RAI. So the model, AI model then performs the responsible AI, which is called RAI, to checks on the input prompt and output results to ensure ethical consideration as well as the data security. Then we have a LLM response and post processing. So the AI model generates a response which is sent back to Copilot, and then we have a compliance and purview. So the response is post process during which it may be further refined based on the compliance and purview settings, ensuring that the output aligns with the organization's policies. Then the data flow and the encryption. So the data flow within this architecture is secure with all other requests being encrypted via HTTPS and the WebSocket secure protocols, ensuring the confidentiality and integrity of the data. So when it's come to the Microsoft Graph and customer data, so the Microsoft Graph is a central to this architecture. So it contains the user context and the content. So let's say, for example, emails, files, meeting, chats, calendar, as well as contacts stored within the customer's Microsoft 365 tenant. So the Copilot accesses this data to provide the contextually relevant responses. Then, when it's come for the plugins and the external services, the architecture also supports the plugins and the services like Bing, Dataverse, and Power Platform services, which can be leveraged to enhance the Copilot's capabilities. For this Azure OpenAI, the LLM is powered by Azure OpenAI, but Microsoft maintains the instance, so ensuring that OpenAI has no access to customer data or the model itself. So this is the critical for maintaining the data privacy as well as for the security. So this architecture outlines how Copilot for Microsoft 365 integrates the various data sources, applies AI for understanding and generating the responses, and ensures secure and compliant handling of user data through the process. So now let's see how the prompt flows through. So the first thing is user prompts are sent to Copilot. So what exactly happens and what is the purpose behind it? So when a user interacts with Microsoft 365 applications such as Word, Excel, Teams and many more and provides an input or a prompt, let's say for example asking a question regarding a summary or seeking to automate a task. So this prompt is sent to Copilot. The purpose behind is, so this is the initial step where the user's request is captured and being is journey to the Copilot architecture. So it forms the basic for all the subsequent processing and response generation. Okay. The second thing is this Copilot accesses Microsoft Graph and plus optional web and other services for the grounding. Over here, we are going to see the three parts in this, that what exactly happens, what are the grounding and the optional web and other services. So the Copilot then accesses the Microsoft Graph, which is the core API that connects the various data sources within Microsoft 365, including the email files, calendar events, chats, and other organizational data. So this grounding refers to the process of using this data to understand the context of user prompt more deeply. So let's say for example, if the user asks for a summary of recent emails, so the Copilot will look into the relevant email stored in Microsoft Graph. So when it's come to the optional web and other services, so depending on the prompt, Copilot might also use the external services like Bing for the web searches or other connected services, let's say for example Power Platform services, to enrich the response with additional information. Now let's say this Copilot how it sends the modified prompt to large language model LLM. So what exactly happens over here? So the once the user prompt is grounded with relevant data, Copilot modifies the prompt only if needed to make it more precise and context aware. So this modified prompt is then sent to LLM. What is the purpose behind it? So the LLM is an advanced AI model powered by Azure OpenAI, designed to understand and generate the human-like text based on the input it receives. So the model processes the prompt and prepares to generate a response. Then RAI is performed on input prompt and output results. So what exactly happens here? Before the LLM generates the final response, RAI, that is the responsible AI, checks are applied both on the input as and the output. That means input, that means the prompt sent to LLM, and the output, that is the response generated by the LLM. The purpose behind is the RAI ensures that the AI behaviors align with ethical guidelines, security policy, as well as the organizational standards. So it checks for biases, ensures the data privacy, and verifies that the output is appropriate for the given context. So this step is very crucial for maintaining a trust and compliance within the system. Then the co-pilot receives this LLM response. So what exactly happens over here? After the LLM has processed the grounded and modified prompt and passed through the RAI checks, it generates a response. So this response is then sent back to Copilot. So the purpose behind is the response generated by the LLM is the result of all the processing that has taken place. So the co-pilot receives this response and prepares to deliver it back to the user or further refine it as needed. So in short, the summary of this flow is the process begins with the user inputting a prompt. A prompt is grounded using a data from Microsoft Graph and possibly other sources. A modified prompt is sent then back to LLM, which generates a response after passing the RAI checks. So the finally Copilot receives the response and either presents it to the users or the processes it further. So this detailed flow ensures that every user interaction with Microsoft Copilot is contextually relevant, secure, and compliance with the organizational policies.
All right. So that is the architecture of Microsoft 365, and it helps us to get the data whether from web or from your Microsoft 365 ecosystem to answer for you. But now that when it comes to extending the Copilot, let us see like how it works. So Copilot for Microsoft 365, it will definitely help people work better with the Microsoft programs. For example, if you are using Word, Excel, or Outlook, there you can effectively use that, and obviously with Microsoft Teams. So it is very much good at tasks like understanding, summarizing, prediction, translation, all those kind of a thing. And it uses the information from your organization files, messages to perform those tasks. But most business tasks don't only use Microsoft 365. And with Copilot extensibility, you can add extra abilities as well as knowledge that fits for your business. So this makes it pretty much possible for the Copilot to do even more amazing thing that you can think of for your organization, and then you can make Copilot better suited for the needs by turning on your own apps into the tools that you can work with. So for example, if you have a look at this diagram on the x-axis, here we do have got the knowledge. So that means we already have our data which we can access via Microsoft Graph or Microsoft Graph API. Then we do have power by which we can connect to the internet to get to the latest information. So that means here we are maintaining the knowledge of our organization. Okay, so the organization data as well as the power of internet. Now that, for example, if you want to build on top of that and add some more capabilities to your Copilot, in that case, you can go ahead and create something called as a graph connector. So in a nutshell, this graph connector will help you to bring the external data into your organization data so that you can index that data and use it. So the simple examples are like, for example, if you're using ServiceNow kind of an services to work onto the incidents or maybe task. In that case, you can get all that information into the graph connector, creating a graph connector connecting to the service now, and then from there you can pull that entire information and make it available as a part of your search, so that Microsoft Graph will have access to that. And whenever you will ask some information which is related to the service now, it will be able to get that information. But again, there is one catch that it is just the one snapshot of the current system of ServiceNow or whatever external system that you are connecting to. You will not get the latest or current data with that, but at least this one will help you to get the data from the external system into your Microsoft 365 ecosystem so that you will be able to extend the knowledge on top of it. Okay, so if in case you are planning to expand the knowledge boundaries of your Microsoft 365 ecosystem, then the obvious option is Graph Connector. Now that let us have a look at the other axis, y-axis. So this y-axis will help you to extend your user skills. So you can connect Copilot to the applications that you work with plugins to streamline your everyday tasks and activities. So obviously we do have power of LLM that we have seen with Copilot, and then again on top of that we are using this Copilot capabilities with Microsoft 365 apps, like we have mentioned Microsoft Teams, Loop, and others. But now that, for example, if you want to connect to the external system and interact with that system with the data that it has got, in that case, you can create something called as an plugins. So plugins will help you to connect to the data in the external system live. Again, not just connect, but again, you will be able to update the data there as well. And in this demonstration, we are going to show you like how you can do that. So in a nutshell, this Microsoft 365 Copilot extensibility, it simply enables you to expand your organization's AI-powered productivity, capacity, as well as creativity. So at the same time, it preserves the trust as a Copilot operates within your organization's security and compliance boundaries, and also it adheres to the Microsoft responsible AI kind of a standards. So if in case you are looking out to bring the data from external systems into your organization, into your Microsoft 365 ecosystem, then you can create something called a graph connector. And for that, you need to have some programming knowledge. You can create that with PowerShell, or maybe even you can create function apps, those kind of a thing, so that you can connect to the external system, get the data inside of your system. But plugins are they are pretty much easy to create. Even for example, if you are working onto the Power Platform, or if you are a developer, in that case you can create your own plugin. Again, there are a few out of the box plugin available as well that we are going to demonstrate you. All right. So with that, let's see like how you can use those plugins to connect to your data.
So there are two ways of extending Copilot for Microsoft 365 by augmenting the Copilot with the skills through plugins and grounding it with the organizational data through the Graph connectors. So when it comes to the plugin, so the plugins expand your user skills by interacting with your web service using a natural language in Microsoft Copilot. So with plugins, you can do is like access real-time information such as finding the latest news coverage on a product launch, relevant relational data such as reporting on a service tickets assigned to given team member, perform the actions across the app like creating a new task in your organization work tracking system. So you can build the plugins by building a Microsoft Team message extension or a Power Platform connector. So if you already have a message extension or Power Platform connector, then you already have the foundation to create a plugin for Copilot. So when it's come to the Microsoft Graph Connector, so the Graph Connector increases the discoverability and the engagement of your enterprise data by deeply integrating your data into the Copilot for Microsoft 365 experience. So with the Graph Connector, you can make the most of your external data by letting a Copilot read and summarize the data from various places. Also, this helps you to understand the things better. So you can use a Copilot as a research assistant. So it can find the information, summarize it, and answer your question using the data you choose. Then you can surface the intelligence of the Copilot. So in Microsoft Search and other tools to improve how the users finds what they need.
All right. So now that, for example, if you are wondering like what are my ways in which we can get started and start creating those plugins. So here are the ways. So let's talk about that accessibility options for your Copilot for Microsoft 365. So, for example, if you are coming from the low code, no code kind of an background, if you are a Power Platform maker or Power Platform developer, in that case, there's an option. If in case you create a Power Platform connector, obviously you do have your plugin so that you can interact with the external data. For example, if you day in day out work with Microsoft Graph, you do have PowerShell as well as the Microsoft Graph API extensibility knowledge. In that case, you can create the Microsoft Graph connector, get the data from the external systems into your Microsoft 365 ecosystem, and you can work with that. And then lastly, for example, if you are a Microsoft Teams developer like me, so in that case, obviously you must be developing messaging extension. So if in case you already have built any of the messaging extension, congratulations, you already have the Copilot plugin ready with you. Again, there are various ways in which we can do these plugins development. So there is something called as an declarative copilot, which is coming soon. And then again, with that, you don't need to write the code, just that you need to write the prompt, and then it will help you to get the data from your external system or maybe from your Microsoft 365 as well. So these are the ways with which we can do it. I guess that was pretty much of theory we wanted to cover. But now that let's get into one of the example which even Microsoft uses.
So this generative AI is making a big changes in how we can communicate and work with technology. So it's like giving the machines the ability to be creative as well as generate the new content like art, music, and as well as the conversations. So this technology help us to do the things we could not before, and like making the personalized content and the collaborating with the machines in a new ways. So it's basically reshaping how we use the technology and how we connect with it. So the Microsoft Copilot is a powerful example of the generative AI. So we are not limited to text in and text out conversation, but we are in the era of conversational transactions. So with multimodality in AI, we are now capable of processing the information from the different modalities include the images, videos as well as the text. So multimodality means using a different ways to communicate, not just words. So it includes the things like a picture, sound, as well as the gesture. So it's like when you watch a video with music and the images instead of just reading a book. So multimodal communication helps to reach the people and make it easier for everyone to understand. So Microsoft have partnered with Suno. It is a leader in AI based music creation to bring their capabilities to Microsoft Copilot. So with Suno you can turn your ideas into the personalized song regardless of your music background.
All right, so with that, let's get into the demo of Suno, like how we can use that as a plugin. So we just wanted to make you aware of the concept of what is meant by plugins, okay? So that when we will go into the coding, it will be pretty much easy to understand or relate this kind of an functionalities. So now that you can see that I'm at copilot.microsoft.com, which is even free to use. So once you are there, you do have an option to sign in. So at the top, you can go ahead and sign in. As you do sign in, there are two options available. Either you can sign in with your personal account, which should be Microsoft enabled, and then again you can sign in with work or school account. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to sign in with the personal account so that I will be able to demonstrate you all those plugins. Okay, so I'm just signing with personal account, which is already Microsoft enabled, and here you can see that I have signed in. So what I want to do now is that let's say I just want to have a song sing by Copilot for me on elephants. So that's the reason I'm just putting a prompt like sing me a song on elephants. So let's see like how does it react. So what we are expecting is like Copilot should go ahead probably sing a song for us, and let us see like how it is able to do that. But here for example, if you see it was just able to give us that information into a text kind of a format. So it is not exactly a song, but it is just the just the text. Probably I will have to sing it for you. I don't have that good voice to sing for you. But again, at the end here you can see that it has given me some preview. It is coming from YouTube probably, and then probably from here we will be able to get to the song. But this is the place where we are facing some kind of an gap that we are expecting something to be done by Copilot, and So, since Copilot just have got access to the data, probably it is not able to do that very effectively with this multimodality. So this is the place where your plugins will come into the picture. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do is onto the right hand top corner here, you can see plugins. So let me just go into the plugin. There are various plugins available, and one of that plugin is called as Suno. Okay, so I will have to start a new topic so that I can make a selection for this plugin. Okay, so every time you enable any of the plugin, you have to start a new topic or new chat conversation so that it can detect all of the available plugins and give you the result accordingly. So there are various plugins available, for example, Search, Instacart, Kayak, and many more. So I just have enabled this to know, which is again kind of an powerful generative AI kind of an functionality which can help you to translate our ideas into song. So I just have enabled this Suno, and let me again paste the same prompt like sing me a song on elephant. And as soon as now I will submit it, there is one thing will happen is like Copilot is now should be aware of there is a plugin called as Suno. So here you can see that it has started using this plugin called as Suno, and then from there it is going ahead and probably trying to give us some kind of a song. Okay, so right now it has just have given us the lyrics. In the background, it is finding some good music for us. It will find some good singer better than me, and then it should go ahead and sing that song for us. Okay, so it takes some time, probably just 20 to 30 seconds. But the magic, what happens here is like each of the Copilot plugin, they have their own metadata. For example, the title as well as the description, which is available. So, for example, even if you have a look at the description here, for example, this description says that make a song with Suno, and your song request including any personal data within it will be shared with Suno and everything. So that means there is a metadata available which help Copilot to detect that it can help you to create a song. Okay, and for example, if you have a look at um, my prompt here, I'm also trying to create some song kind of a thing. Okay, so based on the metadata matching, or it is not exactly doing that metadata matching, but it is going beyond that, and it is using all those capability of the indexes and everything, so that it can detect which is the plugin which can best help us in this situation and do the magic for us. So here you can see that we do have some music created for it, a very small music because I don't have the paid subscription of Suno, but let's listen to that.
Walking through the jungle, big great giant moose, swinging with his trunk, smiling every groove.
All right, so probably I will not play the entire song. I will leave it to you so that you can go ahead, use your creativity just with the prompt, and it can sing a song for you. Okay. So this is the capability that Copilot has got. So that with the Copilot plugins, we are extending the capability of Copilot so that we can perform the things that can be very much easier or powerful for our users. Okay, so just coming back to the topic of like how you can create your own plugins. Okay, so obviously we're not going to create a plugin which can sing a song or maybe tell you the stories, but probably this one will be more technical kind of an Copilot, but it will give you idea like how to create a Copilot and then how you will be able to connect to the external system, bring the data from there, as well as you can perform the CRUD, create, read, update, delete kind of an operations with that data. All right, so how you can do that? First thing is we need to have the Teams toolkit for Visual Studio Code. Again, the same tool is available for Visual Studio as well if in case you are a .NET developer. So let me just show you how that one looks like. So right now I'm into the Visual Studio Code, and this Teams toolkit is available as an extension. So once you go into the extension, from here you will be able to search for the extension called as Teams toolkit, and then you will be able to use that. You can install that and use it. So here you can see that I already have it installed. That's the reason I get disable and uninstall option. But simple thing is you just need to navigate to the extension, find the Teams toolkit and get it installed. So this is our first step to go ahead and um, have the prerequisites made to create our Copilot. And then this Teams toolkit is not only help you to create a Copilot. But again, for example, if we are looking out to create applications on top of Microsoft Teams, definitely you can use this Team Toolkit to create your bots, tabs, messaging extensions, and many more things. All right, so now that this is the messaging extension plugin that we are going to show you, so here is the example of the writable data with messaging extension, and this plugin will allow users to post the classified listing of the items that they want to sell, buy or rent. So users can search the listing posted by the others, and then from there they will be able to see the items available to buy, purchase or sell. Okay, so this is the Copilot that we are going to build, or at least that we have built, and we are going to demonstrate that to you. Okay, so let's see
So
like what that Copilot is. Yeah.
yeah, so here is an example use case. So built for a Copilot for a company's internal marketplace. So the employees use the Microsoft Teams and the Copilot to post items they want to sell or rent. So like office furniture or the electronics. So the Copilot assists by generating the post template, suggesting the prices, and even automating the notifications when the similar items are posted. So the employees are searching for the items can quickly find what they need through an intuitive search powered by Copilot, which filters and sorts the listing based on their preferences. So by integrating these functionalities in Microsoft 365, Copilot can transfer the process of buying, selling, as well as the renting the items into a seamless AI driven experience that leverages the full potential of Microsoft ecosystem. So with that, here is how this functionality work within Microsoft 365 leveraging the capabilities of Copilot. So the first one is the posting classified listing. So the user interactions when it's come, so the user can create a classified listing for the items they want to sell, buy or rent. So this could be done through applications like Microsoft Teams, SharePoint or even with Outlook also. With the Copilot assistance, when a user wants to post a new listing, so the Copilot can help by suggesting a template or guiding the user on what information to include. Let's say, for example, item description, item price, contact details, location, and the many more things. So, when it's come for this automation over here, so the Copilot can automate the process by autofilling details based on the previous post. So integrating data from Microsoft Draft or pulling in relevant data from connected services like OneDrive or SharePoint. Okay. Then the next one is for the searching listing. So for the user interactions, so the user is looking to buy, rent or search for the items can input their search queries in a conversational manner. Let's say, for example, show me all available apartments in Helsinki, Finland. So when it's come to the Copilot assistant, so the Copilot can refine the search results by understanding the user preferences and the context. So for example, filtering the results by the location, price range or by the item category. So it can also offer the advanced search capabilities like a filtering by the recent listing, sorting by price, or even setting up the alerts for the new post matching the user's criteria. Then it's come for the third one, which is for the managing listing. So when it's come for the user interactions, so the user can manage their existing listing, making the edits, they can update the prices or the market items as a sold as a or rented. So the Copilot assistants can provide the reminders to update the listing, suggest the optimal prices based on the market trends, and even offer the insights into how many users have viewed a listing or expressed the interest. When it's come to the integrating with Microsoft 365 apps, so let's say for Microsoft Teams, user can post a listing directly within a Microsoft Teams channel, making it very much easy to share within the groups or the organizations. So the teams can be used for live discussions about the items or scheduling viewing. So a SharePoint site can be set up as a central hub for all the classified listing, with Copilot helping to organize and categorize the item for easy navigation. For the Outlook, Copilot can assist users by sending the alerts or the notification for new listing matchings their interest directly to their email box. When it's come for the security and compliance. So for the data privacy, since the Copilot operates within the secure Microsoft 365 environment, all user data, including the listing as well as the transactions, is protected under Microsoft compliance and security frameworks. And a copilot can be configured to flag inappropriate content or manage listing approvals to ensure that all the postings are adhere to the organizational policies. So when it's come to the enhancing the user experience, when it's come to the personalizations, so the copilot can learn user performance, sorry, the preferences over the time, making the future interactions smoother or even the more personalized. So AI powered recommendations are here. So the Copilot can suggest a similar items, all the alternatives if the desired item is not available, enhancing the overall user experiences.
Alright, so now that, for example, if you want to build a Copilot, something like this, what are the prerequisites? So, since we are using the open source kind of an tooling, we need to have Node.js at least version 18 installed. We need to have Visual Studio Code as well as the Teams toolkit extension installed inside of that. Obviously, we will need Microsoft 365 license since we are going to use this Copilot in Microsoft Teams or maybe in Outlook. And again, we need to have the Microsoft 365 Copilot license with us. For the storage purpose, we are using this block storage, but again, you're free to use any kind of a storage. We just wanted to use the block storage so that it will give you fair idea that we are not only limited to the boundary of Microsoft 365, but even we can go beyond that and we'll be able to perform the operations onto the systems which are external to Microsoft 365, or even in optional, even you could have used Microsoft SharePoint list here. Okay, so this is kind of a general schema that we are going to use for this Copilot. So we do have only three tables here, and again we do accept that this may not be the most optimized schema for the from the database perspective, but this is the schema that we are using for our Copilot. So we do have this table called as listing city. This one will be used to just store the city information. Like for example, the person who is trying to sell, buy, or rent a product, which city that product is available inside. So we are just storing that name of the city here. Secondly, we do have another table here called as listing type. So whenever someone wants to buy, rate, or sell out anything, that type of listing we want to store, and for that we have this second table called as listing type. So these are the two very basic table, but the master list is something which is called as listing, where we have this foreign key, primary key kind of a concept from where we are referring the city and type IDs from the other two tables, and we are storing the basic information about any of the listing. For example, the title of the listing, description, price, city type, as well as the person who is the owner of that if in case that is to be contacted. All right, so with that, let's get into the demo and see how that Copilot looks like. So let me just show you the Copilot how it works, and then after that I will show you how to go into the coding of that. So right now, Miss, I do have that Copilot already running, so I can show it to you that there are two types of prompt that we can give here. First one is a very basic prompt. So for example, if you have a look at this prompt called as find bikes in classified listing, so this is the information that we get. And once I mouse over onto this section here, which is which is coming as one or two. So here you can see that these are the citations, and once I click or hover onto this citation, it gives us the entire information about that particular product. So I just have searched for find bikes in classified listing. So classified listing is nothing but a keyword here which can help us to get to that um, Copilot plugin that we have created. So for example, if I go into the plugins, we do have that Copilot plugin created and enabled, and that's the reason we are able to hit this. Okay, so as soon as I search for find bikes in classified listing, it will go into that Azure table storage and find out all of the classified listing which has got bike into the title or into the description, and then we get this entire listing. And as soon as I do mouse over onto this citation, it gives this entire information into something called as an adaptive card. So adaptive card is again nicer way to show your information when it comes to showing the meaningful information in Microsoft Teams or maybe in Outlook in a platform agnostic way. So this is the information that we are showing here. Again, for example, if you happen to be owner of that listing, you will have the ability to delete the listing from here, as well as even for example, if you want to add more listing, you can do that from here as well. Okay, so if in case you want to list out few other products or services that you want to buy, sell, or rent, you can do it from here as well. So this one is a very basic kind of a prompt. There was nothing fancy. We just have search for find the bikes in the classified listing, and it has given us all of the bikes which are mentioned there. But there could be other type of prompt, and that could be the advanced kind of a prompt. Okay, so that advanced prompt will be something where we have mix of the information. So let's say, for example, I want to find a bike, maybe in some of the city, and then from there I want to just get to a specific thing. So let's say, for example, I want to find bikes in the classified listing in city called as Mumbai. In that case, I will just make that as my prompt, and then here you can see that it has just given me a specific information for that particular bike, which is available in that city. And then from here we can build on top of it, so that let's say, for example, if you want to find a bike in Mumbai, but um, which is for sale under 200,000 um, rupees in this case. So in that case, you can see that we do have a clear listing from there. So this way, this Copilot plugin will help us to go ahead and filter out the information from the external system, and it will give you a live view of the external system. So if in case you want to extend it for ServiceNow, or if, for example, if you want to extend it to any of the other applications, probably your Leave or HR application, which may not be a part of your Microsoft 365 ecosystem, but it could be outside of that, you can directly connect to that system and bring the information. And at the same time, when you are bringing this information, you can apply all those security and compliance kind of a thing. So for example, it will show only the items which the user should supposed to see who is raising that query into the Copilot. All right, so then what is the benefit of this? So the benefit is like right now, maybe I'm working with the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, or maybe specifically into the Microsoft Teams. So I don't need to leave that, go to the other system to find out the information, again come back to my Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Teams to continue with that information. I will have that view directly available inside of my Microsoft Teams or Microsoft 365 chat experience, so that I don't have to go find out the information at multiple places, but all that information will be made available using these Copilot plugins at the centralized location of Microsoft Teams. All right, so with that, let's say, for example, if you want to build out those, how you can do. So we just have seen that we need to have this extension installed called as Teams Toolkit. Once you install that, that Teams Toolkit will be available to you into the left pane as something like this, from where you will be able to create new application. So I will click on this create a new app, and then here we do have options to go ahead and start creating our application. So as I said, this is not only limited to creating the Copilot, but you can go ahead, create your bot, tabs, messaging extension, or Outlook add-in. And as I said, even that there are declarative agents or declarative co-pilots that you can create. This is the option for that, but we still have to wait for some time until this one is available for everyone. But again, there are good videos available um, onto the YouTube channels of Microsoft that you can watch out, like how to create those declarative copilots, so that you don't need to write even a single line of code. You just need to have good prompt engineering techniques, and then you will be able to create your own copilot agent, which is running on those capabilities. But until the time, let's say, for example, you want to create a plugin by which you will be able to connect to the external system. The way is that you can create something called as a messaging extension, and then from here we need to go for the creation of the custom search results. Once you do that, from here you can either create it as a bot. So you need to start with a bot that works in Teams, Outlook, and Copilot, and then you need to specify the programming language, JavaScript or TypeScript, and that's where it begins. So once you will provision a project of that sort, this is how the project will look like. So you will have the app packages, source code, and few of the applications. For example, the bicep templates to get it deployed to the Microsoft Azure. But let me show you the where the power of this Teams Copilot comes into. So let's say, for example, you want to create your Copilot. So everything starts with this Compose extension. Okay, so if in case you make a look at this, so this is nothing but the Compose extension, and then we do have certain commands which are specified here. So right now we want to do the classified listing search. So that for that reason, if you pay attention here for the title and description, we are clearly specifying for this plugin that this one is a classified listing that can help users to find the sale, buy, or rent kind of an items which are available, and they will be able to search for the items which are posted by others. Okay, so that means we are making it clear for the Copilot to find this plugin whenever there is a query for the classified listing. And when it comes to the prompt, we have seen that it could be a basic prompt without any complex kind of an parameters, or otherwise even it can be an advanced kind of an prompt. So for example, if it is an advanced prompt, we can specify the name of the item, we can specify the location where that item is available, or type, for example, whether the user is planning to search for the item which is available for rent, buy, or sell, what kind of a price range that user is looking into. So these are kind of an advanced parameters that we have got. Another important parameter from this file is nothing but this classified listing search, which is the ID of this. So the main or the main part of this is this search app.ts, which is your entry point to this Copilot. So whenever there will be a request to this, it will fall through this search app.ts. And here, for example, if you see, we do have that command ID, which is nothing but the command ID that we had specified here, which is coming here as a variable. And once Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot hits your plugin, this particular code gets executed, and the code is again pretty much simple. What it does, it just tries to find out what information the user has put into. Again, the one of the beauty of working with Copilot is that you don't need to you don't need to learn any language as such, but you can just use your natural language, for example English or maybe other language, if in case it does support, and then it can help you to find out all of the entities from that prompt. So let's say, for example, when we give the prompt like find the bikes in classified listing in Mumbai for sale under 200,000 rupees. In that case, it can go ahead and apply this logic, and it can find out what is the name of the item. For example, bike type. That means I want to buy the bike. Location is Mumbai in this case, and price is 200,000 rupees. Okay, so this is the information that it will get. After that, it is a pretty much simple logic that we have got to connect to the Azure table storage, find out the information where this particular search query is satisfied, and then it returns the information. Now that once it returns the information, we need to formulate that information into a user good looking data, and for that we are using something called as an adaptive cards. Okay, so all of the things that you see here, for example, if I can go back to the basic prompt, and I can show you once I click onto this citation. So this is nothing but the adaptive card. So this adaptive card is again available here. So everything that you see onto that card is nothing but it is coming from here. Okay. So for example, if you are not the a regular Microsoft Teams developer or Pro Code kind of a developer, at first point you might find it bit difficult. But believe me, whenever you will start coding, you can just go get into the flow, and it will be just the simple process to go ahead and start developing your logic. So again, thanks to the Teams toolkit, which help us to just concentrate onto the business logic by leaving out the complexities of how we can get our plugin executed, or even how to test it out and everything. So even though, for example, if you do not want to deploy it to Microsoft Azure, you can simply go back to the Microsoft Teams Teams toolkit, and then from here we do have option to test it out onto the local environment. Okay, so once it is here, it will give the option to select your accounts, and that's it. You can just go ahead, run that onto the local, and when the time comes that you are satisfied with the results onto the local, there are three lifecycle options available by which you will be able to provision all of the biceps which are mentioned into that YAML file, to go ahead and deploy that, or create those resources which are needed into the Azure portal. You can deploy your code and you can click publish, so that it will create a Teams app package which you need to publish to your Microsoft Teams admin center, and that's it. This particular Copilot is pretty much ready for you. So this is how that Copilot looks like. Simply works onto the normal plain English language, and it can help you to get to the data which could be inside of your Microsoft 365 ecosystem, or it could be outside of that. So I hope that that was simple to implement. But again, if in case you are more interested to get into the resources, if in case you have some idea and you want to explore that, how you can go ahead and extend that idea by creating Microsoft 365 Copilot, then these are few of the references available from the Microsoft Learn as well as Microsoft Dev blogs. So please do refer them. As well as, for example, if you're interested to know like how we have built that classified listing Copilot, here is the detailed article on that, which describe the step-by-step process. And for example, if you want to explore the Copilot that I just have shown you, demonstrated you, it is available for free for everyone to use under the PNP repositories. And at the same time, onto that PNP repositories, there are various awesome community samples available. So please do go ahead and take a take a look at that and then use them. All right. So with that, we are towards the end of our session. So thank you very much for having us. Thank you once again for this another opportunity to help us present our session here. Hopefully that was helpful to you, so that you can turn your ideas into those Copilot plugins and help your users as well as community to do better. And please don't forget to rate our session, as well as there are some calls to action. So please do spend your valuable time doing that. And with that, thank you very much again one more time, and back to you.
Yeah, thank you so
So,
much for the opportunity.